So, at the moment, you know how to output something in Python using the print function, and you know how to get the user to input something into the program using the input function. So other than inputting something and outputting something, a program needs to store values, data and values. They need to store that. And they need to do that in one of two ways. They need to do that temporarily while the program is running. We need to be able to keep track of values throughout our program, and permanently. Now, the permanent storage solutions for that's going to come way down the line. But for now, what you need to know and what we need to learn is how to store data and values in the program whilst it is running. Okay, so we can keep track of things like the things we print and the things that come in to the program. Now, before I show you how we do that in Python, you need to know, and you need to know the definition very clearly, what the storage container, if you like, is called, and that's called a variable. Okay, I'm trying to write this using my pen on my surface here, so that's actually an R. A-R, variable. Now, a variable is a location in memory that stores a value or data that can be changed while the program is running. Okay, and you need to do that. You just say that over and over and over in your head. But so what is that? What does that mean? Okay, so we've got some memory, and these are all the locations in memory, and we want to store something in there while the program is running. How do we get our program to do that? Well, we create a variable. Let me get rid of this. Imagine that a variable is a container. We can't really see what's inside that container. And if I had 3 of these containers, I'd have 3 variables in my program. They all look the same. But in one, I want to say I want to store the user's age. In another, I want to store the user's name, and say the other, I want to store the user's height, for example. In order to reference these, be able to actually recall that information later, I'm going to need to label them, or what we call give them an identifier name. So a variable has a name. And if I want to store this container is going to have the user's name, I might call this username. This and I can then put Claire inside it. Okay, talk more about how we do that in a second. This container, I might want to store age, and then I can put my age inside it. And this one, height, and I can put my height inside it. So I have 3 containers, username, age, height, and those are known as variables. So a variable is a place in memory, or a location in memory, that stores data or a value that can be changed while the program is running. Because if I ask another user to input their name, their age and their height, that data, those values may be different, so they vary, variable. In order to get the data in the variable, we need to assign it. So let's use this one as an example. So bring that down here. I've got my variable that I have named username, and I want to put my name inside it. So how can I get that inside there? And that is when I use an assignment operator, and that is actually just an equals. Okay, so to assign a variable a value, I need to first give it an identifier name, give it a label, call it something, and then I use an equals symbol to assign it to the value that I want it to contain. Okay, let me do this one again. So this time, let's assign age. Let's create age first, and then I'm going to assign it my age. So I define the variable, there it is here. I assign it with the number 39. So therefore now 39 will be stored in age. Height would be the same thing, and I assign it with my height. Let's take a look and see how that looks in Python. And here we go. So file, new file, open up this, put this over here. And I'm going to create my variable username. And I'm going to assign it a string because Claire is a string of characters. Age, I'm going to assign this a number, 39. And height, I'm going to assign that my height. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. Just save it. Let's call this variables. And it runs, but does nothing. Because I haven't asked it to do it. Well, it does something actually. It's created the variables and assigned them their values. But actually, I didn't ask it to print anything, so it's not going to put anything on the screen. So let's add a print value so I can just test to make sure that that's worked. So I'm going to print the variable username. By calling print and then putting username in there, I'm referring to whatever is stored in that box. So print age, and then print height. Now let's take a look. You can see Claire 39, 5.5. Now these are variables because they could vary. So here, while the program is running, I'm going to print height, and then I'm going to assign height. Just somehow managed to grow an extra inch in the time that it managed to print. I'll reassign height with 5.6, and then when I print it, let's see what happens here. Claire 39, 5.5, so that was the original print statement. Then I reassigned the variable height with 5.6 and printed height again, and this time it came out with 5.6. So you can see that a variable, in this particular program, I've got 1, 2, 3 variables that were assigned the values. I used the print function to print those values stored within the variables. I then reassigned height with 5.6, reprinted it, and the new value was printed. Okay, so what I would like you to do is to practice assigning some variables in your OneNotes, complete those tasks, use the print function to then output the values that are stored in those variables, and then move on to the next part of this OneNote.